Time now for Uncancelled. And this is where Britain's top commentators speak out on controversial issues without the fear of the cancel culture sweeping the rest of the media. And breaking tonight, there will be no royal reunion between King Charles and his closest long-term aide, Michael Fawcett, despite the Met Police dropping their inquiry into the Cash for Honours investigation against Fawcett and the Prince's Foundation yesterday. Sources have tonight told the Daily Telegraph that the King will never work with the former chief executive of his foundation again, with both men said to have moved on, aware that such a move would simply not be worth the aggravation. But Charles will be searching for all of the allies he can find, after some briefed the Sunday Times at the weekend that he runs the risk of becoming a caretaker king, perhaps too willing to sit back and wait for William to take the throne and become the real changemaker of the monarchy. Well, I'm delighted to welcome back to the show distinguished royal author Tom Bower, of course, the biographer of the King. And Tom, look, obviously we've got this breaking news on Michael Fawcett, but there seems to be a bigger question tonight as we approach the one-year anniversary of King Charles's reign as to whether he's actually making any form of difference and if he has the right people around him to do so.
Well, in my view, not, and we've discussed this many times, Dan. But, you know, the Fawcett decision is actually critical to the survival of the monarchy. If Michael Fawcett had been prosecuted and the evidence against him, let's remind ourselves, was pretty conclusive. He had offered a Saudi businessman a knighthood and British citizenship in return for a donation to Prince Charles's charities. That, if it was proven to be true, is illegal. And Fawcett in the dock at the Old Bailey would have undoubtedly caused the king enormous problems, and in my view, would have been the end of King Charles's reign. So they made the decision that the king's future was more important than the law in this case. And I think that's a very important decision that they've reached, a landmark. In terms of King Charles himself, I think we've always assumed that he's lost the mojo to some extent. The fact that he didn't deal firmly with the Sussexes, the fact that he allowed Prince William and Kate to take over so much of his duties has shown that he really hasn't got the energy, in my view, anymore to impose himself in the same way as perhaps his mother did and change Britain under his reign.
Could Prince Harry and King Charles ever truly reconcile? The world dreams of a royal reunion, father and son shaking hands, family wounds healed. But according to royal biographer Tom Bower, that fantasy is exactly that, a fantasy. As Bower explains, Harry's new world in California is built on independence, media deals, and a very different set of loyalties. Meanwhile, King Charles stands as the guardian of an ancient institution, duty, tradition, and the firm above all else. Their lives are no longer just separated by an ocean, but by an entire reality. While some insiders whisper about private negotiations and possible peace talks, Bower dismisses them as wishful PR spin. He insists there's no real path forward, only staged optics and controlled leaks.
You know, he's a man of 75. I think his wife is not that keen on endlessly travelling. And I think he is going to be, in every way, a good caretaker king, but not the man he hoped that he would be.
Fascinating stuff. Both sides of the story, of course, here on GB News, and Michael Fawcett himself has always denied any wrongdoing, while a spokesperson for the Prince's Foundation told GB News tonight the Prince's Foundation has noted the decision of the Metropolitan Police following the conclusion of its own independent investigation and governance review last year. The charity is moving forward with a continued focus on delivering the education and training programs for which it has been established. Now, Tom, it hasn't been a great few days for Prince William either, who faced a barrage of criticism for what folk have called a sexist decision not to attend the Women's World Cup final in Sydney and his subsequent video apology. Watch this.
Lionesses, we want to send you a huge good luck for tomorrow. We're sorry we can't be there in person, but we're so proud of everything you've achieved and the millions you've inspired here and around the world. So go out there tomorrow and really enjoy yourselves.
Good luck, Lionesses.
But the Daily Telegraph columnist, Tom, and friend of the show, Celia Walden, argues while the decision may have been clumsy, it wasn't sexist. She accuses the Prince's critics of diluting serious accusations of sexism. So what did you make of his no-show in Sydney, Tom?
Well, I thought there were three reasons why he didn't have to go. I think that, he's a hardworking man. He's got a family. It's the summer holidays. It wouldn't only been his holidays that have been disrupted, but all his staff as well. I think that it wasn't vital for him to sit there, although in Sydney, although undoubtedly is an amazing achievement for the Lionesses and for women's sport in all, that they have got that far, they did get that far. But I think there's another more important issue as well here. Australia is run at the moment by a Republican Prime Minister. I think the arrival of Prince William just to see an English match, but not to have been there to see the Australian matches, would have been used by him to show that Prince William is not really a prince of the Australian people. He might have got involved in some unfortunate politics. So I think the Lionesses played as well as they could without his presence there, and it wasn't the end of the world that he didn't turn up.
Behind palace walls, trust is shattered, and words are weapons. Bauer also points to Meghan Markle as a crucial factor. Her alleged push for full independence and total narrative control has deepened the rift beyond repair. She isn't just on the sidelines, she's a powerful player in shaping Harry's choices and his distance from the crown. Reconciliation sounds noble. But in the House of Windsor, wounds run deeper than the public knows. And as Bauer warns, the fairytale ending, father embracing son under the palace lights, may never come. Because in this royal war, peace might be the one thing they can't afford.
OK, interesting take. I see where you're coming from there, actually. Now, look, reports from OK magazine, Tom, which have gone all around the world, are suggesting that Prince Harry is preparing for peace talks with King Charles, with plans for the pair to reunite in Britain before Harry travels back to the States after next month's Invictus Games. One condition, according to sources, would be the Duke no longer airs private family laundry in public. Tom, do you really think that Charles particularly wants to have any form of summit with Harry at the moment, given how difficult and destructive his youngest son is still proving to be?
Well, I don't believe this story. I may be proved wrong, but I don't think that King Charles wants to get involved in the muckiness of discussing future terms of a relationship with Prince Harry. And I don't think that even Harry does, frankly. I think that they're both going about their lives now separately. And I think this is one of those stories a summer story, which might have been interesting, but really, let us look at the basics. The Sussexes are doing their absolute best to destroy the British monarchy. They may be quiet for the moment, but they're not going to keep
it's not over.
Forever.
No, it's not over. Tom Bauer, brilliant as ever. Thank you so much, Tom. We'll speak very soon.